Let's turn to NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh, who joins us live in studio to talk about his platform. Mr. Singh, it's good to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. First time in the new studio.
Yeah, welcome. Lots to talk about. Let's begin with a very important development. We now know that Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump, they had a phone call. Donald Trump is describing it as a very productive conversation. We have a clip of that, the president talking about that phone call. Let's listen to that.
We had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock. We put out a statement. We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens. But we have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd, because, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us, the likes of which nobody even thought was possible for many, many decades, for decades. And, you know, that has to stop. We're going to end up with a very good relationship with Canada and a lot of the other countries. Some we probably won't. It won't be so pleasant.
So what is your read on this? And do you trust these latest remarks coming out of the White House?
I think Canadians hearing that will feel some relief that there wasn't a mention of the 51st state. There seemed to be some respect for Canada. But I'm most concerned about the tariffs and the impact on tariffs. So my number one priority is we have to see those tariffs removed. And we have to see them off of auto, off of steel and aluminum. That's really my focus. But I think there's a little bit of relief that Canadians are feeling after hearing that. But we don't know what Donald Trump's going to say. He's very unpredictable. So really the question of this election is who's going to fight for you and your family in all of this uncertainty? Who's going to put you first, not the billionaires, not the millionaires? And I would say in Toronto, that's New Democrats.
You were in Windsor yesterday talking to auto workers. That 25% tariff would rock that industry. What did you hear from those workers, and what did you tell them?
A lot of worry. I grew up in Windsor, so a border town really feels the impact of this trade war. This is where you really know how damaging it is, because the sector that we're talking about employs hundreds of thousands of workers in the entire region. This would be a massive blow. These are good paying jobs. I remember when I was a kid, and the kids that I played soccer with, their parents had these good jobs in the automotive sector. And then when those jobs started to fade away, how damaging that was to those families and to the community. So this is really serious. The 25% tariff on that sector could just decimate the sector. So I heard that worry from workers. People were really uncertain. Some folks were saying going in on the line, going into the factories, you feel really uncertain about your future. You don't know if the line's going to shut down. Someone described it as like, we feel like we're zombies. We're just kind of walking and just don't know what's going to happen next. And I wanted those workers to know that no matter what happens, I'm going to fight for them. I'm going to fight to make sure they get the supports they need.
Speaking of fighting for those workers, in his capacity as Prime Minister, Mark Carney has said that nothing is off the table when it comes to Canada's response. And today we heard that he is planning retaliatory tariffs post-April 2nd. Is there anything you would do differently? What do you make of Canada's approach?
Well, the retaliatory tariffs I support. When it comes to the way Mark Carney is responding to Donald Trump, I'm on Team Canada. I want to see us win. I want to support any effort we can to fight back for Canadians. Domestically, though, my concerns are, I've said from the beginning, we need an EI that covers workers and covers enough of their salary to pay the bills. Right now, EI covers about 55% of your salary, so half your salary. 20 years ago, maybe that would have covered your groceries and maybe your mortgage or your rent. But today, most workers are spending all of their salary on their bills, on their mortgage, on their rent. And so there's not much left over. The budgets are really tight. We need more of the salary covered in EI so that workers know that if they are impacted by these tariffs, they're actually going to be able to keep their homes, they're going to be able to keep paying their bills and keep food on the table.
Okay, I want to talk about you now because poll after poll has suggested support for your party has tanked significantly. Some have suggested this is a political do or die moment for you and your party. What do you think it is about your message that's not resonating?
I think a lot of things have happened that are out of our control, but really this election still is an important choice for Canadians, and we've got a whole campaign to make that case. Who do you want that's in it for you? You know, today we did an announcement on housing. We know that people in Toronto are struggling with finding a place that's affordable. More and more corporate landlords are engaged in the predatory practice of buying the homes that are affordable, rental homes that are affordable, and then jacking up the rent. They look at them and say, you know what, those rents, only $1,000 a month, we can triple that. And they go and buy those buildings and triple it. Mark Carney was the chair of Brookfield Investments that did exactly that. And I met with people that lived in those buildings where Mark Carney's company, when he was chair, agreed to that strategic vision where they said, we're not going to build new apartments. We're going to buy up the affordable ones where hardworking people live in those homes and jack up the rents because we can squeeze them for more money. I think that's wrong. And really, it shows you who Mark Carney's in it for. So if you live in Toronto and you want someone that's going to fight for you and your family to have a home you can afford, that's going to be New Democrats, not the Liberals.
Tom Mulcair, the former leader of your party, has said that, according to him, this is a two-party election. I want to read part of what he wrote recently. If you can't seriously say you're going to form a government that can take on Trump, then get out of the way and let the only real contenders have at it. Does Mr. Mulcair have a point?
No, not at all. And it really is an insult to the tradition of our party. We have the things that we're proud of in this moment where people are saying, you know what, we're never going to be the 51st state. The things that Canadians are wrapping themselves in are things like our universal health care. Well, that would have never happened but for Tommy Douglas, the New Democrat leader who fought and forced a minority government to bring it in. Pensions, New Democrats fought for those. Protections for workers, we fought for those. All the things that we're proud of, that we say, you know what, this is why we're proud to be Canadian, happened because of New Democrats. Right now, dental care and pharmacare, that only happened because I fought for it, because New Democrats fought for it. So we have shown people, if you want someone to actually make a difference in your life, to make your life better, New Democrats deliver. So voting for a New Democrat gets you that support.
You say you've done all these things for Canadians, and yet you are here tanking in the polls. This is your third election, and there are questions about whether or not the NDP will maintain official party status. If that doesn't happen, Mr. Singh, if your party loses that status, would you consider walking away?
Well, I'm not worried about what's going to happen after the elections. I'm in the campaign right now, and I'm going to make my case to Canadians. And we've got a long, rich history of having fought for people and delivered. And so I make that case. Who is in it for you? In the past 2 years, we can show millions of Canadians were able to get dental care. I think about Sue, a senior who lived on a fixed income, who lost her teeth in her fight against cancer. She survived, but lost most of her teeth. And I was at the dentist's office with her when she said to the dentist, can I get my smile back? And he said, yes, because of this dental program, I'm going to get you your smile back. And she broke down in tears of joy. That's who I'm in it for. That's who I'm fighting for. I'm going to continue to fight for them.
Okay, I'm going to throw a couple scenarios at you now and tell me what you think about these. If Canadians elect a minority Liberal government, would you commit to working with the Liberals again?
I'm running for Prime Minister, so my focus is on giving people that real option, that they can choose someone that's going to fight for them.
And if Canadians elect a minority Conservative government, same question, different party, would you work with Pierre Poilievre and his team?
I'm still running for Prime Minister, but I can say unequivocally, I will never support a Pierre Poilievre Prime Minister. Never, ever.
Okay. Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP, thank you for joining us live in studio. We appreciate this conversation.
Thanks so much.